Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Please give your attention to the emergency announcement.
Before we get started, let me read the emergency evacuation procedures. In the event of an emergency evacuation, an alarm will sound. Everyone should exit the building by way of the nearest stairwell in a safe and effective manner. If the nearest stairwell is blocked by smoke, use the other stairwell. Do not use the elevator. Once you've reached the main floor, follow the exit signs to exit the building and quickly proceed away from the building. Please be mindful of others evacuating and of emergency vehicles.
If you have not registered your presence, please do so now. It shows 8. Do we have 8? We have 8 present, so we do have a quorum. First item is set the agenda. Chair will entertain a motion to set the agenda. Commissioner Carver. And I almost said Commissioner, Mr. Hedrick. If you're in favor of setting the agenda, please vote. There are 8 yes. The agenda is set. Next item is public input on items on the agenda. See no hands, we'll move to next item is approval of the November 16, 2017 minutes. Stand for a motion to approve the minutes. Mm-hmm. If you would go ahead and there you go. Commissioner Lewis, Commissioner Carver, please vote to approve the minutes. There are 8 yes, the minutes are approved. Next item is financial reports. Who's going to do that? Ms. Morgan, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In your packet, you should see our financial report. It's been a little bit since we've had a meeting, so I'll give you a minute to look over that. It's current through March of 18, and remember that this runs on a fiscal year, but our benefits go calendar year, so the numbers may be a little different than what you think they may be just because of that. But you can see for the month of March, the most recent, that we did end on a positive note. We did have more revenue than we did expenditures, so we are trending in the positive direction, which is good. You can also see in the month of April that we've received our quarterly rebates on our pharmacy in the amount of $183,000. So we received money back for that. So I'll give you a moment to review that, and if you have any questions, we have our accounting manager on hand as well to help answer those if you have any questions.
Are there any questions?
How are you pulling that up? I'm not, mine's not pulling it up exactly.
The document.
The other document?
Yeah, it's the other document.
Okay.
It's revenue and expenditures is the
I
document.
think it's 2 pages on their screen.
It should be two, yeah. I think you click the same one again.
Scroll down to the,
You have to click that one. And then say view document. There it goes. And it's small,
yeah.
so you'll have to enlarge it. If you hover your mouse over. And I know, it's the way the system loads it. So I promise when we put it in there, it's a full page document, but it's the way Granicus puts it in the system, I think, so. And it is a 2-page document, so you will see January, February, and March of 18 on page 2. I think you scroll down. I think page 2 is down there, the next. Maybe. There it is. There you go.
Any indication about why February was?
Way it was.
Oh, I just closed it accidentally. Let me look. Hang on. Apologize.
Maybe.
Other than, you can see we had quite a bit of claims. We had $1.7 million in claims. We had quite a few high dollar claimants in the month of February, just some big expenses, some claims that came through. I can't give you a whole lot of detail because then I would violate HIPAA, but we had some high dollar claims that month.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
There's some people in the hospital with pneumonia that year. Was that February?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
So,
Hold on. Mr. Britt, you recognize?
No, it was.
Oh, Stinnett? Mr. Stinnett, you recognize?
Yes, Chairman. So it appears to me, if I'm looking at this correctly, that we're $208,000 to the positive this year? Is that what that means?
What number are you looking at? Where you're seeing?
I'm looking at net position, let's see, under December the 17th, at the bottom of the page. What is that in parentheses? $208,409.28.
He's on page 1 looking at December. Well, that's for that 6 months. So because this is on a fiscal year, so that's from July to December. And our accounting manager puts this spreadsheet together for us. So Dina, if you don't mind, if you can come and explain your spreadsheet. She does a better job at explaining it than I do. The question is, for the month of December, that net position, the $208,000 is
In parentheses.
in parentheses.
that's just for December, though.
That is, yes, just for December.
So is it, okay.
So that would mean that the revenues at the top, the 1.5, and our expenditures were 1.7.
So that's, the parentheses mean negative.
Yes, sir.
Negative numbers.
Yes. So
Is
that's
the to- is
a
the-
loss.
Yes, is the total, Chairman, for the complete fiscal year, is it somewhere on this chart?
Page 2.
Page 2?
If you scroll down,
Okay, I
there's
haven't-
3 columns all the way to the end where Dina has
we found it.
summarized things to say fiscal year to date, and then to kind of show you calendar year to date where we were in 2017 versus where we are now calendar year to date in 2018.
Thank you, I found
Okay,
it.
okay. Thanks, Dina.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Stinnett, that answer your question,
Yes,
sir?
yes, sir, thank you, Chairman.
Any other questions? Let's see if I can get out trying to get back
Oh,
over.
yes, sorry. Ms. King also pointed out that the member summary report was attached as well. And if you'll remember, that breaks down our account of the breakdown, employee only, employee spouse, employee child, and family, so that you can see the different types of coverage that our employees have. So at the end of March, we had 1,668 total employees enrolled, which is kind of odd that it was the same as where we ended February. So even with all of the drops and additions that we had, our numbers stayed the same. But then we had 3,671 total members. So that includes all of your dependents that our employees have. And you can see the breakdown there. The majority of our employees carry family coverage, with employee only being the next highest, and then employee child and employee spouse the lowest. Thank you for reminding me on that.
Okay, next item on the agenda is F1. Resolution number 17-06-015, resolution to adopt a premium rate structure for the dental plan for Blount County government. I'm reading this was we have this resolution, and the next one is to correct
Yes, there
a mistake that was made previous, correct?
Yes, and I can explain.
So if you look at the resolution, I believe this was passed, let me find the right one. Yeah, June 15th of 17. So since it was passed, why do we need to pass it again?
We have to correct it, it's wrong.
Premium rate
The
structure's
premium
wrong.
rate's wrong.
You're looking at the new one. You're looking at the old one, yes.
Well, that's what's on the agenda though.
Right, I put the old one on here so you could see the difference between the two. The corrected one's on there also too.
So basically, resolution 17-06-015 is for information.
Yes.
Okay, it's for information only, so. So if there's no objection, we'll just list F1 as information only, and no objection. We'll go to F2, which is the resolution that we need to actually deal with, correct? Okay. So that is, and it does not have a resolution number.
Well, who signs the resolution numbers when they sign it to commission?
We never had a resolution on it.
Okay, a resolution to correct the premium rate structure for the dental plan for Blount County government. Does everyone have that pulled up? I'll give you a moment to look it over. Basically, my understanding, I've read both of these, and my understanding is this simply corrects a typo, basically, is what it does. It corrects a typo. There's no change in the premiums. It just corrects a typo that was on the old one, and we will be forwarding this to the commission to correct that. So the chair would stand for a motion to get that on the floor. Commissioner Lewis moves. Is there a second? Mr. Britt seconds. Any discussion? Mr. Britt, you recognize?
Well, where's the correction exactly?
Ms. Morgan, you recognize?
Thank you, sir. Yes, the typo was on the incorrect resolution. The employer premium was listed as $22.14, and that was wrong. The correct premium is $17.14, and it was purely just a typo. The correct amount is being paid. There's nothing wrong with that. We just made the mistake on the resolution.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, you ready to vote? Please vote to send this to the commission. That's the commission agenda. For 8 yes, 0 no, that will be sent to the May Agenda Committee. Next item is discussion and possible action on adopting a military leave policy. I'm having trouble getting this up here. Okay, documents. Did everyone get that pulled up? Ms. Morgan, you're recognized. If you want to explain this a little bit,
Yes,
please.
sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The county has been approached, and the mayor was approached as well by a few veterans organizations to encourage us to look at offering paid time away from work for our employees who serve in the military or the reserves. Several discussions I had with the mayor, and I met with all of the elected officials. They are in agreement of the policy that is before you. So our current handbook basically just states that we will work with our employees that require time off away for military, but it doesn't get it's not very specific. It doesn't give us any guidelines. So the proposal before you would give some guidelines around what we would do, which would be to pay employees for a period not to exceed 20 working calendar days per calendar year in order to serve in the military or the reserves. And this is excuse me, it's common, and I consulted with other county HR directors and some city HR directors, and this is common. 20. Some people actually do 30 days, but we felt in the discussion with the elected officials that 20 would be sufficient.
One of the things I noticed was it says requested leave shall be supported with copies of the Armed Forces order. What does that entail?
It means that we have to have a copy of their orders from their branch of the military that tells us how long they are going to be out. And every military branch that gives orders whenever they send a member to service. So it's just a copy that they provide to us that lets us know when their leave will begin and when we can expect for them to return.
It will not require them to tell us where they're being deployed to or anything.
No, sir. The orders
Okay.
just give us dates. Yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, Chair would stand for a motion to... Will this have to be put in the form of a resolution?
It's a policy update. I didn't do that with the others. It's just a handbook policy update.
Commissioner Stennett, you recognize, sir?
Chairman, question in reference to the insurance. If this employee has family coverage, he gets to keep that, does he not? This is personal coverage. Is that correct?
Well, it would be whatever level of coverage they have. If they have employee spouse, they would be able to continue that. If they have employee family, employee child, it's
Okay.
whichever level they have. It's just referenced employees coverage, and then it's
If it was single.
right.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Hedrick? Commissioner.
Mr. Hedrick. He called you commissioner.
Superintendent Hedrick.
Superintendent, I guess.
Mr. Hedrick.
Carver is second it. He's already hit
Who second?
Carver.
Mr. Carver's already.
Commissioner Carver seconds. What? Who?
Mr. Britt said it, but
Oh.
Commissioner
Carver hit
Carver
it.
hit the button, so we go with the button.
Yeah, we go with the button around here.
Which
The button trumps the rest.
the button trumps the voice, yes.
Okay, please vote to forward this. Well, we don't need to forward it.
Would we?
No, it'll have to be
forward it
approved by the
agenda?
commission.
Yes,
It has to be approved by the
Yes.
commission,
We need to
yes.
forward it to agenda.
Okay, we'll forward it to the agenda. I'm the one not voting. 8 yes, that will
Yes.
be sent forward to the agenda. Next item is H1, background checks for job applicants, policy 1.22.18.
Under skilled policies.
You misspelled it. Yeah, you did. Polsey. Left an I out.
Let's go ahead and get a motion to get this in front of the body, and then we'll discuss it.
So moved.
Commissioner Carver, is there a second?
Second, find out what it is.
Commissioner Lewis?
Yes.
Ms. Morgan, you want to take this one?
Sure, thank you. So again, this is another policy bringing before you after many discussions with the mayor and also discussing with the other elected officials. We felt it necessary to begin conducting pre-employment screenings for job applicants. We do not currently do this. And so you can see what the proposed policy would be there in front of you, that we would only conduct the background check on an applicant who has received an offer of employment. The information that we seek out will be only job related, and everything would be, of course, kept confidential. The applicant would have to sign an acknowledgement giving us the access to do that, obviously, and then we would do 3 different types of checks. So criminal background check would be conducted on all applicants. If the job that they have applied for requires the use of them driving a county vehicle, we would do a motor vehicle check. And then if their primary job duties would include handling money, auditing, anything to do with finance, then we would do a credit history check as well. These would be done by a third-party vendor, and then the vendor would send us human resources the notice of the report, which we would then read and get with the hiring manager to let them know the status. I can let you know that we have a vendor that we have worked with purchasing to seek out, and the county attorney is reviewing that contract. So right now we just want to approve the policy, and then we will bring back to you the contract and a vendor once that has gone through the county attorney's review.
Who pays for the background check?
That would be paid for by the county. I have requested in my personnel budget the funds to cover the costs of these. They're not that expensive. You pay based on which type of background you're doing. So some report, I wish I could say it'll be X amount of dollars for every person, but it just depends on which job they're applying for. But it's been budgeted in my budget. If commission approves the budget, then I will have the funds to cover the cost of these.
Any other questions? Seeing no lights, please vote to forward this. For 8 votes for, and that will be forwarded to the agenda. The next item is I1, drug testing policy for applicants. I can pull that one up. Chair will stand for motion to get that in front of us here.
So moved.
Commissioner Lewis moves. Mr. Hedrick seconds. Any discussion? Does everybody have it up? Any questions? Discussion? Let me see. You're in the wrong place, Mr. Lewis. Yeah. Yeah, I got him now.
Oh, yeah.
He's sitting in the sheriff's spot. You're good. You're good.
You were in the wrong seat, is what he was saying.
Oh,
So you can't. Does he need to move?
yeah. I just want to know what
Sure.
this covers and.
Okay.
So the policy before you it's 2 pages on your screen. It should be the first page is what's currently in our handbook and basically says that the county reserves the right to conduct drug and alcohol testing for applicants for employment, but we're not currently doing that. And so the proposal then on page 2 just kind of shows you a little tidbit on how we would proceed with doing the applicant drug testing. We do currently do random drug screens in the highway department for DOT purposes. The sheriff's office does drug screens for hire. They're the only one right now that does. But this would allow us to move forward with that as well. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Britt, I believe the school system is moving forward in this direction as well. And we are actually, they have agreed with us. And you also have in your packet, it may be a separate attachment, but the contract or the agreement with Blount Memorial Physicians Group, which is basically East Tennessee Medical Group, that building, where the Care Today clinic would take care of doing the drug screens for us. They do them now for the sheriff's office and for the highway, so it would just be adding the school system and the county's pre-employment drug screens to that. And we've worked that out. That's been, you can tell, the county attorney has reviewed it and he has signed off on it as well. So just trying to get us some, moving forward with things for hiring.
Any other questions? Discussion? Could you please vote to forward this? Great, yes, that will be sent forward to the agenda. Next item is CBIZ presentation. So we ready?
I think so. Let me make sure that I know. Is that it? I can do it. I can do it.
Okay. Okay, you're up. I think we got it all set here.
Do you have a clicker, or are you my clicker?
Tell me when to go next.
All right, you're my clicker today. All right. Hello, everyone. So today we're just going to go through a little bit of the utilization, a review of your current vendors that you use, and then some recommendations for 2019. It's crazy to think that we're already there, but it's that time of year, and especially with the process of getting everything implemented for a January effective date, and to try to have open enrollment in September, we need to try to get things approved by early summer, just like last year. And then give you some updates as far as where we're at on a few other items. So this is kind of small for the screen, but hopefully you can see it. This is just an executive overview of the year for last year compared to the year before. Keep in mind a few notes of interest on here. One is that this does not include the pharmacy rebates in with the figures under the pharmacy claims. This is just going to be the paid claim, so it's not going to include like admin fees. And in 2016, it's not going to include the Humana runout, but it'll be, so that's why some of these figures might look a little bit skewed, because the 2016 data for the first 3 or 4 months you had runout from Humana, and Allegiance wouldn't have that data. So this is just an Allegiance document. But you'll see that overall the claims, the plan paid increase is going to be in 2016 to 2017, 8.9%. I'll give you a caveat that I went back and looked at 2015, so when you were with Humana, and I normalized the data, so not looking at a total plan paid, because that's not going to be normalized because your enrollment is going to fluctuate. So I looked at it as a per employee per month overall cost. So if you look at a per employee per month cost and you take in consideration all the pharmacy rebates that were received by Humana and Allegiance, and you consider the runout, so everything cumulative, in 2015 your per employee per month cost was $835.02. So that was the Humana time. In 2016, when you consider Humana, Allegiance, and the CVS Caremark change, the per employee per month drop, no, I'm sorry, the Humana one was $831.11. I'm sorry about that. In 2016, the cost was $738.27, so almost a $100 reduction per employee per month. And then in 2017, the per employee per month did tick up to $813. The story here is just, if you look at by the end of 2017, your costs are still lower than they were at the end of 2015. And if you understand today's insurance market, that's quite remarkable. And that only considers the total plan cost. So it's not taken into consideration premiums paid by the county or by the employees or any of that. That's not part of this data. This is just how your plan itself is performing. 2018, well, obviously we're only in the first quarter, so we don't have a lot of data yet for that to show, but I'd say that we should be on pace to still end up either lower or equal to where you were in 2015. You can see the data shows from this sheet that you're around a 10% trend on your overall total plan paid. It's right at 8.9%, and that's really why I wanted you to get out of this slide. And it gives you a little bit of data on the overall, like where the utilization is coming from on a categorical basis. So let's look at your vendors. You're currently with, as a recap, you're with Allegiance on the medical, and that's going to be your TPA that processes the claims. Cigna is the network. Employers Health is your pharmacy coalition, and that's where they pool you with many other companies to create a very large purchasing group for the pharmacy. And CVS Caremark is the pharmacy vendor itself. Partners RE is the new stop-loss vendor we moved to as of 2018 due to the very large increase that you all received in 2017 from HM Insurance. I will tell you, and I didn't mention on the previous slide, but you do, as Jenny mentioned earlier, you do have a few very large claimants. So you have one claimant in particular that could end up being very, very large claim. And with this being your first year in the stop loss, that doesn't bode well because they have no history of receiving revenues. So again, we're not going to receive your stop loss renewal probably until middle of October. That's usually the time period on it, but we'll do our normal marketing of that and get the costs down. But I would anticipate that you'll probably get a pretty big increase if that claim does end up being what we think it will end up being. And due to PHI, I can't really get into the specifics of it. Delta Dental is your current dental carrier. We'll get into some of that. Superior Vision has been your vision carrier for a long time. Dearborn currently handles your life insurance and short and long-term disabilities. Colonial handles your voluntary benefits. Convenient Care is the new carrier as of 2018 that handles the telemedicine, which is Colodoc, and then also the opportunity for an employee to go to like a walk-in clinic for a $30 copayment. And it also provides that prescription benefit, none of which goes against your plan design. And I'll get into some neat detail or stats on that here soon. BariNet is the bariatric surgery vendor that we went with, and Blount Discount Pharmacy handles the tobacco cessation, and Interactive Health does the wellness. So let's get into the medical insurance administrative services. Again, this is Allegiance. They handle all the claims payout for the medical. They also, a unique benefit that they provide is they do consolidated billing. So this means that all of the vendors' bills go to them and they handle it, so it makes it easier from an accounting perspective, and all the enrollment and changes all go through one singular source. This also helps keep costs down on the Courthouse side, because then we don't have to pay for many different contract fees of different vendors. So it's really just the Allegiance side, and then it funnels out from there. So the Courthouse feeds to Allegiance, and Allegiance feeds out to all the different vendors. It really makes it smooth, and it's a unique benefit they offer that no other carriers really do. They are able to handle the direct contracting with the hospital, as well as what we have with some of the other vendors that we have. They feed the claims data to the pharmacy benefit manager and the stop loss vendor, so it's a seamless solution. And so far they've exceeded all of the performance guarantee metrics that we put in place to make sure that we're keeping them honest. The Cigna network discounts right now, cumulatively, if you combine all the different regions, come in at 59.52%. Humana, when you were with them, were around 55%. So while that might not seem like a very large difference of around 4.5%, if you consider 4.5% on $18 million in claims, that can be quite a big number. So that's been a pretty significant savings just on the discount side alone. They provide us with monthly reporting. So Jody's team and my team, which I have Carrie here, who's our account executive with your group and has worked with you all since the beginning. Jenny, Jody, and my team, we meet on every couple weeks as well as monthly to discuss how the plan is moving and how your plan is working, and discuss what we need to do in the future to combat that, and also staying up on the claims. And that's where we get some of the monthly reporting data. We also have a semi-annual in-person review with the carrier where they fly in from Montana and Florida, and we have all their people in place, and we do a half-a-day meeting and go through line by line on everything. So we're staying up with the plan. They're very flexible in terms of how, if there needs to be any adjustments, we can do it on the fly, whereas a normal, like a Blue Cross or a United, they're going to be much more strict in their processes, and which is very important. They're pleasant to work with. The renewal, did we actually, say on here the renewal is not received, but that's, you're actually in a rate guarantee, I believe, on the Allegiance. So Carrie's shaking her head yes. So the Allegiance, you're in a rate guarantee, and the CVS Caremark, I believe, is that renewal received? Okay. So I don't anticipate that there's going to be any kind of increase or major change in the CVS Caremark. Usually their market check means that they reevaluate their contract, and they negotiate that on an annual basis. The advantage with Employers Health, as opposed to some of the other vendors, is they have it as an annual contract, whereas a lot of the others try to stick you into a 3-year contract. So on the performance guarantees, I mentioned this shows you some of the performance guarantees we had put in place administratively, showing you the medical time to process. The goal was 90% within 14 days. Year to date, you're at 98.2%, so they're doing a fantastic job. The abandonment rate is less than 3%, and you're at 1.5%. You can see through here that you all are killing all of the performance measures or allegiances as it pertains to your group. So then let's get into the plan design. Just another recap. Your current plan design as of 2018 is a $750 deductible. We moved to one plan design and one singular coinsurance, which is 85% coinsurance for the plan. To my knowledge, I haven't had any complaints from any of the employees, and they're shaking their heads as well that they haven't heard any complaints or any kind of feedback on that end. So I know that was a concern when we made that change. We're not really seeing any steerage change either from the claims data as far as it going outside of Blount County compared to where it was. It's still early in the year, but we're not seeing any kind of movement there. The medical out-of-pocket maximum will reduce to $3,000 from $4,000 last year. You still have your $2,000 prescription out-of-pocket maximum. You have your drug copays and percentages at $10 copayment for generic, 30% for preferred brand drug, 40% for non-preferred, to a max of $100 copayment, and a specialty drug is 50% to a max of $200. And then we have a rate structure here based on Blount County versus employee and your total rate. That's how it currently is set up. Your renewal plan as of right now, we're not recommending any changes to this, and so far everything seems to be working pretty well on the co-insurance side and deductible and out-of-pocket. And then we have the Blount County rate listed here. We haven't made any recommendations on total rates or anything on there, but from that part. On the flexible spending account, you moved to Allegiance in 2018. From what I understand, that's been a very positive move from Ameriflex. Previously with Ameriflex, there would be a lot of adjudication that would occur where if someone had a claim, they'd have to file it back to Ameriflex because the systems weren't coordinating. Since we moved to Allegiance, there was a small administrative fee of $5.25 per employee per month that enrolled in the flexible spending account. That was offset by a colonial of $4 per employee per month, so the county is paying the $1.25. The administrative fees for Allegiance remains the same for 2019, so there's no increase with that. I'll tell you that again, it's been fantastic to work with Allegiance because they hold the claims data already, so you don't have to send in nearly as many verifications of whether it's a legitimate claim or not. So it's really cut down significantly on the headache of the employees. The medical FSA and dependent care FSA, again, it just allows employees to set aside money pre-tax for medical or dependent care qualified expenses, and it saves you all on the FICA match, and the employees save on their taxable benefits. So the dental plan, this is going to be the only area this year that I envision that we have much of an increase. I'll tell you that the dental plan, you've had a rate hold essentially for 4 years on this. We made a change last year where the employees pay $5 of the cost per month, so a very nominal fee of it. The purpose of that was to cut out any instances where you had duplicate coverage, so an employee double coveraged on dental where there's no benefit for that. And then also you had cut out people that had dental that we found had no use for it. So I found that in some of the informational meetings, we had quite a few people come up to me and say, well, they don't care that they don't have dental or that they have to pay, they just won't take it because they don't have teeth. So we found that, and yeah, they would have false teeth, so they wouldn't see, they never used the dental insurance. And so that occurred on multiple occasions, and what we found is that we had 35 people end up dropping the plan due to the $5 increase. I can tell you it's probably not because they wanted the coverage and couldn't afford it, it's because they didn't need it, and you all were paying for it anyway. So that resulted in a savings of $9,200 over the course of the year, just from the 35 dropped, and then by having the $5 difference, it saved $113,000 to the county that otherwise you all would have had to pay this year in total premiums. So your requested renewal this year is at 17%, and that's if you offer it as a single option. Obviously that sounds high, but keep in mind that your dental rates are going to be in the $20 range, not the $500 range. So 17% of 20 some odd dollars is not going to be that of the 500. Also keep in mind that at least as of the last 4 years, you've had no rate increase as a whole. The reason for the rate increase, though, as you can see on the second bullet point, is your loss ratio over 2 years is 103%. So what that means is every dollar paid in premium, Delta Dental paid out $1.03. So your overall claims for the 2-year period was $2,166,000. Premiums collected by Delta Dental was $2,091,000. And so the break even on dental insurance is around 75%. I think that's a little bit ridiculous, but they claim 25% for admin fees is typically their break even. So you all the fact that they're showing a 17% increase is actually lower than what would be justified from the market. We did send it out to many carriers, and everyone said the same thing, and that they would offer a cost that's higher than you're getting from a renewal. So I'll tell you that Delta is one that we never get complaints out of the employees out on. They're a very reputable national carrier. They have the largest network in Tennessee. So I would recommend staying with Delta Dental. I would recommend a few changes just to make it even more appealing to the employees. You could offer a dual option. Now, I will say that whenever we talk about the dual option, we just got the rates today for that dual option. The rates do change slightly, not much, but slightly. We also looked at a self-funded as an alternative. Again, you then run the risk of claims being high and then paying out, and it seems to be right now wouldn't be the time to do self-funded when you just incurred 103% loss ratio. So your current benefit plan is $1,000 maximum benefit, and then you have a $50 deductible, you have an orthodontic lifetime maximum of $1,000, and then your preventative care is 100% covered, basic is 80%, which is going to be like fillings and root canals, and then your major services would be covered at 50%, which would be like crowns and bridges. You'll notice the line below it, it says preventative excluded from max, it says no. So what that means is some dental carriers have the option, and Delta is one of them, that you can actually exclude the preventative care, which would be your 2 annual cleanings, from the maximum benefit. So right now the way your plan is structured is when someone gets 2 cleanings per year and get their x-rays, their bright wing x-rays, all that counts against that $1,000. So think about that. You get your 2 cleanings per year and your bite wing x-rays, you're looking at $300 subtracted from your annual maximum right out the gate, and you haven't even had a root canal or a filling or any of the other major work. So that $1,000 can deplete pretty quickly. So we looked at an option of doing it the other way around for that. So your current plan design, the renewal on this to keep it exactly as is and no changes is $26.04 for the employee. Your current rate is $22.14, so a slight increase on the employee only rate. If you made it to where the preventative care was excluded from max, it's only $1 difference per month. So you look at a $12 difference on the employee only rate essentially, but you all of a sudden gain like $300. Because your preventative no longer accounts towards your maximum. So it seemed almost like a no-brainer on that part. We also looked at what if we just did a single option of a high plan and also excluded the max. So this is a very rich benefit for your employees. You have a $2,000 annual maximum instead of $1,000, and it's excluded from max. So it's really more like a $2,300 maximum benefit. Your individual rate is $31. So again, the point I want to get across is that it's very incremental. So going from 27 to 31, you're looking at a $4 difference, so $48 over the course of the year, but you gain $1,000 in annual maximum. So the reason that works in the dental world is obviously there's a lot of people that don't use their annual maximum. But for the people that do, that can be a huge benefit for them. I did, like I mentioned, I did just get the rates for the, if we offered it as a dual option. If we offered it as a dual option, that current plan design without excluding the maximum goes from $26.04 to $26.82. So there's about an 80-cent increase by doing it as a dual option. I'll explain what that means in just a moment. The high plan, which is going to be that $2,000 benefit, goes from $31.14, actually goes down to $30.53, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but I'm not going to argue with them. So it goes from $31.14 to $30.53. What a dual option just means is that it allows an employee to make a decision, and so they could take the base plan that they currently have and pay the amount that they pay, or they can take the high plan and pay the difference between the two and get a richer benefit. And that's the advantage, is you give the employees an option. It costs a little bit, the little bit extra on the employee only rate and the family for the current plan, but it gives the employees an option and gives them a richer benefit offering on the dental plan. For vision, you're on a rate hold till 2020, I believe. So there's no rate changes on that side, and the benefits are exactly the same. And I don't understand. I'm not incurring any issues from my knowledge on Superior, so we're recommending to stay the same. So this is going to be the part that might scratch your head a little bit, but we have a reason for it. The Dearborn, you have a rate hold, and they've been a pretty decent carrier to work with. We're recommending going with US Able. So you may ask, why rate hold, and why are you going to move? It's for carrier consolidation. So really we have no issues with Dearborn. It's just a matter of when we get to the next slide, which would be on the work site, we're making a recommendation. Spoiler alert, we're making a recommendation, go to US Able for that part. So if we can consolidate, US Able has the ability to do both what Colonial was doing and what Dearborn was doing. So it'll make it easier administratively, communication-wise, and then also there's some benefits by going to US Able, specifically in the school area. So many of you may remember being with US Able in the past when you were with it. I can tell you that with US Able, they work with 85 school districts across the state of Tennessee and 45 municipalities in Tennessee. The reason that they work so well with the school districts is, one, whenever they will handle the enrollments whenever they come in for everything, whereas right now it's Colonial, right? Well, what they do to keep as little disruption in the school systems as possible is they'll pay for substitute teachers to come in and sit in the classrooms while the teacher comes to meet with the enrollers. And so that's a huge benefit. Also, they have a specific product that is beneficial to the employees for the summertime. So right now, with the way that your pay structure is, the teachers get paid year-round. And you can correct me if I'm wrong on that part, but the teachers get paid year-round. So your current short-term disability product works as an offset. So if the employees are getting paid in June, but they have no work, they don't have to take time off because they're already off for the school year. Under your current contract and your previous contract before that, you had an offset where if the employee was out, their pay that they were getting was offsetting their short-term disability benefit, because you wouldn't want to exceed the 100% is the rationale. This contract will actually cover that benefit and their payment. So if a teacher is able to hold off on their procedure until the summer so that they don't have to take time off away from their kids, they're not going to be penalized and from the disability benefit. So it's a really neat, unique benefit in the marketplace, and that's why US Able has been very successful in the school market. This also will allow you for new guarantee issue on all product lines. So if an employee previously decided to waive the optional life insurance or disability, they can now take it without any health questions in January whenever they made the enrollment. So that'd be a new offering for that. So it's a really good benefit. And they're matching the rates for Dearborn. And one other part that I don't have on here is that they're going to pick up the full cost of your FSA administration. Maybe on this part. Yeah, they are. On this part, whereas Colonial is currently covering $4 of the $525 per month, US Able will pick up the full $525 per month. So that also will save the county in costs on a normal voluntary benefit. Another advantage with US Able is all of the enrollers are employed by US Able, and they're all salaried enrollers, so we shouldn't have any kind of huge, heavy sales type pitch from that. And then their goal is to be able to enroll all of their benefits on the Courthouse platform. So whereas right now there's two different platforms talking to each other, the goal is to make that happen to where it can all be on US Able. If US Able gets the approval to move forward, then their programmers will work with Courthouse and see if we can make that happen. They feel confident they can, but ultimately it's going to be up to how it ends up talking to each other. So it's not a guarantee, but there's a good shot, as good of any. We looked at the whole market. We did an RFP process. We narrowed it down to the three that we all felt was best. We had them come in, make presentations. US Able far and away exceeded everyone else on the presentation and skill set. We're getting there, we're almost finished. So a few more items. So these are the additional products. The convenient care, this is again that telemedicine product where the level 3 was a $10 employee per month. This is paid completely by the employee. It gives them access to a physician 24 hours a day. And it provides that prescription benefit if the employee has a common illness and it's on the prescription list, then that prescription is also covered at no cost to the employee or the county. There's no changes in cost for 2019. The level 2 includes a $15 cost for the employee or $30 for the family, and gives them walk-in clinic benefit of a $30 copayment. The cool part about this is you have utilizations right now of $50 call-a-doc visits, so that's just from January through the end of March. And then you have 6 walk-in clinics and you have 109 enrolled. So only 109 enrolled and you've already had that kind of utilization. So just the first quarter alone, that type of utilization equates to a savings of Blount County of $8,900 or number $8,500. I'm sorry, I saw that wrong. So $8,500 in just the first quarter, and it's an employee paid benefit. So it's a fantastic benefit to the employees because they're getting the advantages of cost savings from using the Colodoc, and it sounds like they've already made their money up on it. It's a 60% utilization, which is by far the highest utilization we have out of our entire book. It's 55 was the highest before, so it's fantastic utilization just the first quarter. Your top diagnosis has been acute sinusitis and bronchitis and pharyngitis and influenza, which shouldn't surprise anyone. Those are the top prescriptions on the left. A few more items. BariNet is going to be the bariatric surgery benefit. You have 2 people currently going through the approval process. Keep in mind that it's only available to full-time employees and not available for their dependents or spouses. They have to be enrolled in the medical for at least and employed for at least a year before getting approved. There's no cost per employee per month as far as an admin fee. There's a member copay of $5,000 to be able to do this, but you have 2 people currently enrolled going through the process. If they get the process approved, then they'll be able to go through the procedure. Additional product that you may want to consider offering to your employees that is available through USABLE is considered a hospital indemnity benefit. This is a common product that's offered to employers, especially of your size, for employees. This just means that if the employee goes to the hospital, it helps them pay their deductible type expenses. So it's 100% paid by the employee, and there's some guarantee issue available as well. There's no coordination of benefits with the medical plan, so that means that if your medical plan pays 100% of the procedure, but there's a schedule of service for it, they'll get paid on top of it. So it's a really good benefit to offset, especially those that have high medical expenses if they're having troubles meeting their deductible or out-of-pocket maximum. So this would help out with that. Tobacco cessation, the resolution was adopted in January of 2018 for the Blount discount. Blount discount has been holding the tobacco cessation program. We have 4 people enrolled in the program so far, which I'll be honest with you is more than I expected. We don't really have any incentives one way or the other for someone to enroll. So these are just people that truly want to find a way to quit. And so we're going through Blount discount to differentiate that program. Interactive Health, this will be going on in May for biometric screenings will be available where employees could go and they'll be on site and be able to take their biometric data and be able to tell them where they're at. It's essentially an annual physical at a location so they don't have to go anywhere. It'll give us great data, but it's voluntary, so it's completely up to the employee if they want to go or not. But it could give us some really good insight. And where this is different than the claims data is these are potential issues that haven't occurred yet. So it's the diabetic that doesn't know they're diabetic. These are the benefits of biometric screenings. So that wasn't too bad, and this is where we're at. So I'm available for any questions as well.
Okay, one thing I would like to say is that teachers do not like being pulled from their classroom for insurance. They complain about that all the time. Any questions? No questions? Yeah, Commissioner Lewis.
Cole, I want to thank you, first of all, for all the time and effort you've put into this, not only this year, but over time. If you all remember kind of where we were at one point in time with our program and fund balance, and CBIZ came in at that time and did a lot of really good work to kind of put us in the position that we are today. And just want to thank you for all that. Good job.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Commissioner Stinnett.
Yes, Chairman. I'd also like to say thank you too for the presentation and what you've done for us. I do have some people who are, and this may not be the time we want to talk about this, but our local independent pharmacy people are working on me a little bit. When would that be the appropriate time to discuss that, or can you help me with that?
I don't know that I'm the person to ask on the appropriate time.
Commissioner, One thing I'm gonna try to do is call a special call meeting in May. And I think that at that time would be an appropriate time to discuss those things. That's kind of what the special meeting is gonna be, to deal with the concerns of our local pharmacy people.
Thank you, Chairman.
You're welcome.
Thank you for,
Any other questions? Thank you, Cole. What? Oh,
Are we done with this?
yeah. I don't know. Bear with us here, folks. Okay. Okay, what do I have this here? Next item on the agenda is K, discussion possible action on committee requests for purchasing department to issue RFP for broker services for 2019. Chair will stand for a motion to get that for discussion. A motion? Going once? Going twice? Next item on the agenda is announcements.
No, it won't let you because there's nothing on that thing.
You can just skip that one because it doesn't, yeah, it doesn't, basically doesn't. Okay, we good now?
We're good.
Next item is input on items not on the agenda.
No announcements in next meetings.
Oh, yeah, I skipped that one. Like I said earlier, there will be a special call meeting in May. Trying to figure out when the best time for that is. And the purpose of the meeting will be to discuss the issues that have been brought to myself and some others from our local pharmacist. And I will be looking at a date and I will notify the members just as soon as possible. Now, input on items not on the agenda. I will let you speak. You remember you're not a member of the committee.
I know, I just want to also bring up and just remind the committee too, the presentation that was brought before us today from Cole provided lots of information, but there were also several recommendations. So we will have to have some, and I'll be working with the chairman for our next scheduled meeting. Our next scheduled meeting is still a ways away, so we will probably have to have a special called meeting to make those decisions and set our rates for 2019 for those things that we'll need to do, to move forward in order for us to be able to get our open enrollment process going and those types of things. If you remember, we typically try to have everything done and to commission in the month of June so that we have July and August to prepare. So, thank you.
do that at the same time or do that?
I just wanted to remind everybody, I will work with the chairman on the scheduling, but I just wanted to remind everybody that we do still have those things coming up. So, thank you.
Any other comments, announcements? Input on items not on the agenda, see any hands. If there's no objection, we are adjourned.